Welcome to the Social Podcast, where no discussion or debate is off limits.
Actor and director Bruce McCullough is back. All right. Okay, everybody, here we go. We're going to start with some big Canadian news today. It's the fact that Air Canada has announced it's going to start canceling flights as early as tomorrow. The airline is facing a potential work stoppage by its flight attendants beginning potentially as early as Saturday. Now, the union representing about 10,000 Air Canada flight attendants issued that airline 72-hour strike notice if a deal is not reached to address issues like wages, unpaid labor, when planes are not in the air. So, is this impacting you? How do you feel about this? Let's react.
Well, I mean, it's not impacting me currently. I don't have anything booked, which I know is not true for everyone on this panel, but we're going to get to that in a minute. I know there's a lot of hot energy coming from over here, but we're going to get to that.
And it's not a hot flash.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. People don't strike for no reason. Yeah. Unions make decisions because they feel that it's best for their workers. So I want to say that first and foremost. And here's what I do know also is that no matter what ends up happening, if these workers do get what they want, who's going to end up paying for this? We are. And that's the thing that really bothers me, is that the fact is that Air Canada is currently reporting profits. They, in their most recent second quarter for results for 2025, sorry, I need my glasses for this, they reported a net income of $186 million. So that's
they're in the black.
Some stats. So they have some money going on. I do think that these workers have a case. I didn't realize they don't get paid for their basically anytime they're not in the air, they're not getting paid. Yeah. Having said that, they do have a lot of other perks going on. So again, I'm not in the weeds of this. Bruce, go.
Well,
no pressure, Bruce.
First of all, I think 72 hours notice is fantastic. If your husband said, I'm going to leave you in 72 hours, you could drain the bank account, right?
That is true.
Give you a heads up.
That is
Make a few phone calls.
I know, I can't believe I'm saying that. And also, some airlines, and I won't say the name of them, but they fly through the West a lot, will actually cancel the flight while you're on it.
Stop it.
And you're just sitting there saying, should I fly the plane now? I don't know what's going to happen.
Okay, I'm glad we could get the laughs out of the way, because this girl, she ain't laughing.
At all. Do tell. What happened?
So listen, I am set to fly with my family, a whole crew of us. We are leaving this Friday. And so I got the notice that, well, they're going to start canceling flights as of tomorrow. Now, the question is, it's very vague, right? So my issue here is lack of communication, because what we consumers need in this situation is information so that I can make a decision for my family. And the problem is to say we're going to start canceling flights. So is that all flights? Is it some flights? How certain are you that you're going to cancel these flights? Because if I knew that, then I can make a decision. So the problem for me is business in all of this. You know, they're going to go through a hard time. And I support the flight attendants. I think it's criminal that they're not getting paid for their other work that they do. And they do a lot of really essential work. I absolutely support them. This is targeted at the employer. If you want my money in the future, how you handle me right now is going to determine that. And when I don't have information, so I just want to quickly say,
talk about what happened to you this morning.
So this is what happened to me this morning. I got the message that we know the strike notice has been put up. And I said, okay, they could strike as early as Saturday morning. I'm supposed to fly out Friday night. So I was like, oh, we're fine, right? No. Then the notice said we're going to start canceling flights tomorrow. Guess what my only option is? Well, I'm a planner. So are there other flights going out? Whatever. The kind of ticket that I have, which is non-refundable, I cannot cancel it unless they cancel it first. Now, when am I going to get that information of when you cancel my flight? Is it too late for me to book an alternative? So here's what I would suggest to the employer. If you want my business in the future, you should say, no questions asked because of this possible disruption. You can cancel now regardless of the type of your ticket and get a full refund. Do you know what that would mean? I could get my money now.
Figure out a plan.
I could get my money back now. I could find another flight now. And you know what? You got a chance of getting my business again in the future. But right now, that's not the case.
Okay. You know what? You were much nicer than I thought you were going to be, because she was... hot in the meeting. I mean, on fire hot. So she calmed down quite a bit. I'll say this, whether you're on the side of the flight attendants or not, this is exactly what you're supposed to do when you need to get what you need to get. They know this. The flight attendants know this. They know what the policies are. They know that they can't change the policies like this, and they have 72 hours. The reason why you're not getting an answer is because Air Canada doesn't know what's going on. They are right now at the negotiating table trying to figure out what's going on, and the flight attendants are doing exactly what they're supposed to do. This is peak season, peak vacation season, and Melissa is not the only angry person. I'm sure the customer care line is ringing off the hook at Air Canada, and they have to figure it out. And what the flight attendants have said is like, we said our piece. Ball's in your court, Air Canada. What are you gonna do? Because you have a lot of very angry people who will never fly with you again. So you guys gotta figure it out. You can give us what we want, and we can just get everybody back in the air. So really, this is a smart thing for the flight attendants to do.
I get why they're doing it, and I support that. I get that. My bottom line here is they've been trying to negotiate for 14 months. So what has everybody been doing for the last 14 months?
Well, here's the deal. You're right. You're right. Listen, we work in an industry where you know things, there's a lot of meetings and a lot of red tape, but this is why this is happening now in the peak season. Like, we gave you guys a lot of time, so now we're gonna wait till everybody's going on vacation, and now we're walking off the job. Let's see what you're gonna do. Air Canada, good luck. Good luck.
May I say one thing?
Yeah.
You're working very hard to obscure the fact that you have a private jet. They all do. They're rich here.
Oh, no,
I wish.
That is so not
wish.
true. Go to
You're
the
starting
opposite.
rumors.
Okay, so we're gonna move with something different because this man does have a private jet, I'm quite sure. Mark Zuckerberg, he had a move to Palo Alto, California in 2011. So the Meta CEO has spent more than $110 million creating a compound of homes in his neighborhood. So the 11-property compound features things like a 7-foot statue of his wife, a pickleball court, and a private school for his children. So his neighbors are finally speaking out against him, complaining of constant construction and intense security surveillance. However, reps for Zuck say everything he's built followed proper protocols. So Bruce, do we think this is acceptable, or should Zuckerberg be reined in?
Well, thank you for asking. Well, first of all, I find it troubling that his wife is 7 feet tall. That's a little too tall.
Yeah.
And for myself, I love to make you laugh. And for myself, I am not the friendly neighbor type. I actually don't even like that my neighbors know where I live. And so I don't like if they look at my house. So I put a sign on my lawn that says, please don't look at my house. And then I also have a little library on my lawn which says, don't take one or leave one. Go away.
I think the irony of this story is so crazy. It's like you have rich people complaining that a richer person is buying homes in a very rich neighborhood. Meanwhile, we've been hearing stories about gentrification happening in cities across North America. And if you don't know what that is, that's when a rich person moves into a very poor neighborhood. They drive up the prices, pushing everybody who doesn't have money out, and they don't think about it. They just move on, and it's like, now you just can't afford to live here. That's happening in the Caribbean and a lot of islands where they are taking over, and now the locals can't use the beaches. Where's the outrage about that? I'm sorry, get over it, baby. The rich guy's buying another house, get over it.
I mean, couldn't he have just like found a plot of land that was empty?
Well, maybe
and
that's
put
what he
all
likes.
it all there, as opposed to
Yes.
going into a neighborhood.
Can't he just move to Saskatchewan and have half of it?
Saskatchewan's like, leave us out of this. Leave us out of this.
Yeah, this is called rich people problems. And I don't think many of us have a lot of patience or understanding for rich people problems. If you're trying to sell your property in the future because of gentrification, the best thing that could happen is for a rich or famous person to move into your neighborhood. Their property values, which are probably already in the tens of millions, these homes are in the millions of homes. I want to show you a picture of what the compound looks like, though, because to your point, all the red ones are his, and so then the other ones are for sale. I'm sorry, the person who lives next door and you have a $12.5 million house, I have no sympathy for you. I just don't have sympathy, because that will only go up. The problem will be you'll be crying when Zuck decides to move out and sell everything. Look at what happens to your property value then.
Yeah,
so I have no sympathy
I
here.
have a question. When did we start calling Mark Zuck?
A long time ago.
Yeah.
Did I miss that memo?
Yeah, it's a
Since
weird
when
thing.
was he Zuck?
Yeah. Well,
I
it's
thought
trying to
he
be
was
cool.
the Zuck. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not calling him
when he
that.
started wearing when he started wearing chains and cutoffs.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It reminds with a word though
No,
that is
like, no, that's his look now. I'm saying that's his look now. Just go look it up.
So after the recent cancellation announcement of The Late Show with Stephen Colbert and the rise of podcasts, I know, many are wondering how long the beloved institution of late night television has left. So Bruce, what do you think? Like, does the demise of late night sort of mean the demise of shared cultural touchstones?
No, they're just different. Like, I think I love all those comedians. It broke my heart when Conan stopped. But I do think that it's supply and demand. They don't talk about what enough people want them to talk about. And so I think what people really want to do now is scroll their phones and watch teenagers throw watermelons into swimming pools. Which, you know, that's kind of fun. Or like, you know, just watching a cat and a tiger like sleep together. So I just think we're all doing our weird things. Like, I like obscure cultural touchstones, actually.
Yeah. Do you think it'll come back, though? Like, do you think there was something meaningful about having those moments? Like, I think about even sad moments in the world where you go to the late night host afterwards to hear their takes on it. Isn't there something that we're losing without that?
Well, no, if something sad happens, someone will have a little TikTok and then there'll be Elton John music under it. So you can weep all you want.
Is it the fragmentation then? Because I think we are so fragmented. The way that people watch anything and everything has changed so dramatically. There would be once upon a time when those big moments was, you know, 6 o'clock news or maybe the 11 o'clock news, maybe your late night shows and then morning shows. Like there were a few moments on and then it was like, you know, the Friends on
afternoon
Thursday night.
shows as well.
I like what you did there.
Yeah.
There used to also be, listen, I'm talking to a certain generation, Saturday morning cartoons. Like, there used to be moments when we knew we were kind of all watching together, but those days are gone. And I think this unfortunate, what we are seeing is the downslide of late night TV is kind of part of this machine where everyone's in their own silos. Maybe it's on TikTok, maybe it's on YouTube. The only thing I'm going to say is with the last bastion is, I think, morning shows. So if you look at ratings for morning shows, everyone has to wake up. Most of us have to go somewhere, school or work. And so it's kind of the last thing. So I only think, I'm sad about late night going, but I think when morning shows disappear, then the dystopia sets in. Then
really.
The dystopia sets in and TV's over.
Like they say, all good things must come to an end. And like you just mentioned a few things, like no one's watching cartoons on a Saturday morning anymore. And I think that late night is just the next part of, you know, traditional television to go away. I think it's nostalgic for a lot of us. I remember staying up late and, you know, sneaking downstairs to turn on the TV in the living room so I could watch Johnny Carson. And I know like a lot of people have those thoughts. And this was also where you learned about what was hot and who was the big next superstar. Yeah. And now those people have a lot of different places to go. And actually, I just watched this great documentary about Ed Sullivan. His show ended in 1971. And it's very interesting. I want you to watch it because he's going through things, he was going through things politically that we are seeing today. He was told that he was not allowed to have a lot of black artists on because he was one of the first to have like James Brown and the Supremes on, and white politicians were like, you're not allowed to have them on, or if you have them on, you can't hug them, you can't kiss them. It was a lot of crazy stuff, but he defied all of those rules and he had those people on and he did hug them and he did kiss them. And for that reason, I think late night is, that's why we're so nostalgic about it, because it was so important to us. That being said, that show was canceled in 1971, and since then, all the major networks, all of the late night talk shows are still older white men. So as much as it was great, there hasn't been a lot of change. And so I think all of these different avenues has allowed people a chance to have, you know, an audience that the gatekeepers wouldn't have allowed them to have. Think about like Kai Cenat or Alex Cooper. These are people you may not know, but these are two young people with tens of millions of followers who would have never been given an opportunity or the platform on traditional television to have their own show. But now they're doing it from their basement or they're doing it from some makeshift studio. Yes. So, you know, the change actually is working well for a lotot of people.
Yeah, that's
so,
really
you know, sad
it
to
really
see it go, but
it is. It is.
Such is life.
We shall see.
And may I say, if afternoon shows end, we'll just get on your private jet and go to St. Lucia.
That's right. That's right. On her private jet. I like the way you make sure that...
Don't start rumors, Bruce!
She gave me heck for it. That's why I had to do it again. Because I'm such a punk.
All right, let's move on. on to the next story because a woman wrote to the Skim Etiquette for advice. She said, quote, I recently went out to eat and a person at the next table to me was so loud I could hardly think. So I didn't say anything because I was worried about seeming rude. So here's the question. Can you ask strangers to quiet down without coming off as rude?
What do y'all think? What do y'all think? What do y'all think? Okay, well, I'm about to ruffle some feathers. You cannot, unless you are in a library or you are at a professional tennis match, you cannot turn to people and tell them to quiet down. This is a public space. You can ask, but you might start something. You can ask the waiter or whoever the hostess and be like, can you move me to a different table because this party is quite loud and it's disrupting my meal. That to me is a way that you handle it because sometimes people are loud for many different reasons. Sometimes you're young, like I've been guilty of that. When I was younger and I went to a restaurant with my friends, child, we took over that restaurant. Or sometimes I've seen other parties where there's a lot of drinks happening on the table, so the volume naturally goes up. Or they're celebrating something huge and it's cultural and they're big and they're boisterous. I don't want to tell those people to quiet down. I can just find somewhere else to sit.
Because you have choice too.
Because you also have choice.
Also
I don't think you tell people to be quiet.
Yeah.
Well, I would never say something to someone at another table. I do a couple things. One is I'll go over and eat some of their food. And that sometimes does it. And if that doesn't work, I just fake a heart attack. And then they'll stop and or leave. And if that really doesn't work, then I send over my children.
Oh, yes.
Go, Otis, go.
You know what? I actually, like, I don't say anything with words, but have you ever done like the just sort of like looking over, like just kind of giving, you can give a vibe. You can give a vibe to people and they'll kind of quiet up. But I have actually, when we're talking about saying things to strangers, I've done it to DJs at restaurants.
What do you mean?
So like, you know that, we've talked about this, like there's that stage in certain restaurants where you've gone from like an afternoon vibe and they're trying to like make it nighttime. And so that the volume keeps going up and up and up, but you're in the kind of crosshairs of that. I've gone up to DJs and been like, it's too loud, can you turn it down?
Yes.
And then I get, I know, thank you.
We need to clap
Thank
for
you.
that.
I appreciate
I
that.
got you, Cynthia.
Because I didn't get an applause, I don't get an applause
I know,
from
they
that
were
guy.
not with you, but I dragged them
know.
in. Come on.
What's wrong with that?
You know what? Stay home, Cynthia.
Now, is this...
Leave the partying for us then.
No.
Anyway, that's a whole other part of the discussion. I agree. Like, listen, if you choose to go out in a public place, which is going to have noise, it's the same thing when people are like, don't bring children to a restaurant. It's like, guess what? There are children in the world. Get used to it. If you go to a restaurant, and depending, some restaurants, it's quieter. If you're going to a Michelin star, everything is white glove service, and you're glad, guess what? I'm not going to be the one to kick you out. Probably the owner is going to kick you out. But I think if you're just generally going to a place, guess what? The world is noisy, and you have a choice. Also, move the table. Don't go out at all, Cynthia. Stay home.
Standing behind. Some DJs out there need to know, and restaurant owners need to know.
Louder.
No.
I'm with you, Cynthia. If it's 5 to 7, 5 to 8 o'clock, turn down the volume. We're trying to have a conversation.
That's right.
I shouldn't be screaming across the table.
Thank you, Andrea.
Got
Thank
you.
Picture this, friends. Somewhere in a remote village in East Texas, 11 women between the ages of 60 and 80 have created a group living community called the Bird's Nest. Most of the members are they're either single, they're divorced, some retired. They all come from different political and socioeconomic backgrounds. There are only 2 house rules: no men and no drama. Now, Bruce, I know.
Yeah,
Bruce,
I'm with you.
I know this is considered for like women, but would you consider this?
What are the 2 things? No
men and no drama.
Boy, they're working so hard to not have sex, aren't they?
There are same-sex couples there.
Oh, well,
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm actually in a similar community myself. I'm in a community of 5 men. We're a cult, actually, without a leader, which is kind of hard. And we're called the Kids in the Hall.
Yeah!
It is not a utopia. It's more like, 5 cats in a sack screaming at each other that my idea is better, my idea is better. But it still works.
Would you? The thing is that like we've all been told these kinds of scripts about the way life is supposed to unfold, right? Most of us have been told like you get a job and then you might meet a partner and you might get married and you have a house and then eventually maybe you have a couple kids and then eventually you get into a retirement home, which we've all heard of is quite miserable. So what I love about this is that they're doing something completely out of the box, right? And it's like inventing a whole new way of being. Like I personally, I take issue with only one thing: the idea that there would be no drama with a bunch of women. I'm sorry.
That's your issue?
Well,
For me, it was the no man. They lost me at no man. I was like,
no, but to be
what
clear,
are we gonna do all day? Knit?
No, to be clear, I read the article and they do go into, you can have men come there, they have grandchildren who come there, they have lovers who come there, they just can't sleep overnight.
They can't stay?
They just can't stay overnight. So you can go and have sex, you just get lost afterwards.
I'm back on board.
Thank you.
No.
He's gotta go back to his house?
Maybe,
I'm back on board.
Maybe not, because I've done a deep dive on this.
Okay.
They have something called sex pods.
No, they don't.
Which are just cardboard boxes you can go have sex in.
Wow.
I don't think that's right. The kids in the hall don't even do that.
You know, I'll tell you something on a serious note. My cousins and I, my first cousins, we all of our moms are sisters and there's brothers. And this is us. And we were just together on the weekend talking about this. We just celebrated my mom's 85th birthday. And we always say to the siblings, which is all of our older generation, you know, wouldn't this be a great idea for you now, right? What a great way to be able to make sure that nobody's lonely, everybody's cared for. You can, you know, sell wherever you're living right now. If you live in some kind of townhouse or some kind of complex, maybe it's the bird's
These are all
nest.
tiny little houses,
Yes,
right? Somebody
yeah,
had
they
owned the
just
land,
look-
they got tiny little houses
Yeah, but it
on
could
them.
be you don't need a whole lot because you don't have the want to or desire to clean. Like, or you could have
low
you could have a
maintenance.
registered nurse who comes in. You can have somebody who cooks. You can have a shared kitchen.
Totally.
So I think it might be too late for our parents. I think they're not interested. But we talk about it. We're like sisters. And I said, think about this. This is the way that you're not only going to make sure that you are never lonely, but this is the idea to actually lengthen your life. This is actual science that you
May-
can
may I
have
say
a
one
longer
thing?
life and be happier.
Yeah.
I love it.
Bruce,
I'm
we're gonna-
not going to Texas, but I'll make it right here.
The one thing I think this community lacks is a 7-foot statue of Zuck's wife.
This man.
Subscribe to the Social Podcast so you don't miss a fiery debate. Until next time, socialites.